Okay, I think we're good to go.
Hi everyone, welcome to the fifth live web conference of the PhDOOC and Career Development MOOC organized by PhDOOC for the eighth consecutive season. I'm Odile and this is my co-host Maya, and we are also accompanied by Ayob, who has been sent to pass along any question you post in the chat. Thank you, Ayob. Tonight, our conference will be entirely in English and will be all about transitioning out of academia and getting to know the non-academic job market. Hello, Maya.
Hi, Odile. Thank you so much for the introduction and getting us started tonight. We're going to spend the next 30 minutes with our guest who's here with us tonight, Chiat Cheong. Good evening, Kia.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you
Thank
for
you so much for accepting our invitation. You are the founder of Kia Consultancy and Training, and you're Senior Policy Advisor on Talent Management at the largest university medical center of the Netherlands. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing all your professional advice with us tonight and with our community. So before we get started, could you tell us just a little bit about yourself and the journey that led you to found your own business?
Yeah, sure. I share a background as many of you. I'm scientist by training. My background is biomedical sciences, and the first career I had was in cancer research and doing viral gene therapy. I spent 11 years in research, up and including a postdoc, and that was the moment that I started thinking like, oh, what is this taking me to? Because I really like the career thus far, but I'm not really sure about the outlook of what it's going to bring me, and because there were also some wishes that I saw were unfulfilled if I would continue that track. So that get me into a position like maybe many of you are at right now, like that you start wondering what else is there except for research. And I was lucky enough to join in the Netherlands, because I'm from the Netherlands here, to join a starting organization who wanted to broaden the career development of PhDs and postdoc researchers. So to make sure that these people are also valuable as well beyond academia and beyond research. And yeah, that has been great. So that was the moment I transitioned out of academia. Many things to learn, but also realizing that I had many skills and qualities to bring and to contribute. And that has been my career focus since, well, for the past 14 years and still going strong. Very happy in this. And yeah, so I have done advising in making career programs for PhDs, postdocs, and I've done training in coaching as well. So I've been doing career coaching. I still give workshops on that. And yeah, I think it's so great to work with PhDs, these smart people, to get them in the right places to give them a fulfilling career.
Okay, thank you, Kia, for this great introduction about yourself and your background. We have put the link to your website in the chat so our participant can find out more about your services, and also a link to the interview you recorded for us a few years back, which can be accessed on the PhDOOC YouTube channel. By the way, if you are following us live, feel free to post your comments and question on the WhatsApp of the video by logging with your Google or Gmail account. I hope we'll be able to interact with you through the chat. Hey, Maya, could you tell us a little bit about the context of this webinar?
Yes, absolutely. Um, just to give you a little bit of context, the MOOCs fourth unit opened last week, was centered on networking and the hidden market. This is for those of you who may not have followed the webinar. So let me briefly share my screen with you. Um, so that we can have a look at the survey results that our participants took as they opened the fourth unit. Is everyone seeing my screen correctly? So it looks like it's working. So here in front of you, you have um, the survey results, and it's quite interesting to see that among the participants who took the survey, the French speakers, who are the ones on top, um, look like they are a little bit less confident about their online presence and how visible their online profiles are to recruiters, mostly private sector recruiters, which we'll get back to again later tonight. So you can see this is 46% think that they're online, but they're not 100% sure about their profiles. And our English-speaking participants seem a little bit more confident. There's 55% of them think that their profile is visible to recruiters. And I'm adding this. This is my own addition, but this is outside academia. Um, and of course, there are less people who answered the survey in English, so that is all a little bit relative. But that is an interesting way to end Unit 4 and hop into Unit 5. So I will stop sharing my screen because there we go. That will be there. We
Okay,
saw that. Thank you.
okay, thank you, Maya. As you can see, create a professional profile in social media is really interesting for us as PhDs. Next week in the Unit 5, you will explore the open market and discover what the recruitment process looks like about the outside academia. And to get started, what a way tonight webinar will focus on what it means to transition out of academia where more and more PhD are finding position. Kia, based on your experience as a PhD career guidance professional, could you tell us a bit about the challenges PhDs can face when transitioning out of academia?
Yes, yes. Of course, I'm biased because I'm focusing on broad career development. So it seems like lots of people coming to me who wants to transition. Of course, only those who are interested to explore that option come to me. But what I notice most is people start thinking about options fairly late in their PhD or in the postdoc. And maybe that's the first advice I want to give to people: start timely. Because if you want to think of the next step of your career, it's very important to know yourself first, what is important to you, before you start looking at options outside. And so you can spend lots of time browsing vacancies or looking into options outside of academia, but there is a chance that you don't find the thing that really suits you by looking yourself, because you can only look up the things that you Google or that you look up. So if you're a PhD, then during your third year, and for postdocs, because you have very short contracts, any moment, start already looking for clues to see what are you looking for, what is important to you. And I think that Sarah Blackford and also other people in your webinars have mentioned that, because it's the question is what suits you rather than where do I fit in with my skills. What is challenging is that PhDs and postdocs, they have accumulated, or they have acquired so many skills and they have proven so many qualities that you can fit in basically anywhere. You know, if you do not know yet, you can work hard and fit in something, but will you be very happy about that? And if you turn it around and do some self introspection first, then you can see, try and ask people, okay, if I look for this, will I find it in your type of job? And if it's a no, they can refer you to something that may suit you better. And this is a step that is skipped very often by people, because then people ask the general question, so what do you do? And then they hear the story, and then it's rather yes or no, but it's more likely that it's no, not completely, than it's a full yes. So, and if you know what you're looking for, then you can ask targeted questions, and that helps you, that increases the chance to getting directed to something much more. So if you ask me what is the challenge, don't skip that part.
Thank you so much, Kiat. That's such precious advice. Thank you for dispensing it. Excuse me, and sharing it with us tonight. I was wondering if any participants had left any questions in the chat. I'm not seeing any pop up on the chat so far. So I think we can, excuse me, hop right on to question number two, which is that applying for job vacancies, as you already mentioned, is pretty challenging already for anyone, and perhaps even more so for PhDs who are unfamiliar with the non-academic job market. And so I was wondering what you could recommend, maybe, Kia, to help PhDs better understand recruiters' aims, when to initiate contact, and perhaps how to make their profile more relevant for someone looking to recruit for a non-academic position.
Mm-hmm. I think it sounds very attractive to approach a recruiter very quickly. Recruiters are happy to also make contact with you because you're so versatile, you have so much to offer. But please be aware not to do this too soon in your search. So as I said, first find out what suits you. And if you have figured out what kind of job suits you, then you can do proper research to find out what are the critical skills that they will be asking. Because the role of the recruiter is to check whether someone fits in the profile of the people they are recruiting for, or of the positions they're recruiting for. So if you have done the proper trajectory before, that's the job you really want to have, and it does not take you too much effort to show that you fit in and that you're motivated for this. So at the moment that you are in contact with a recruiter, they want to know, so do you have any evidence for a certain skill? And you should have done your research before that. You should know what are the critical ones. And then you can use the STAR model. So STAR is STARR. That stands for a way or method to elaborate on your answer and make it more convincing. And that's something you can prepare at home. So if you have a skill that is very important, maybe like project management, you find a situation. So that's where the S stands for, a situation where you can describe you have done project management. And your PhD project, it's a project by its own that you're managing. So then you can move to, so you mentioned that, and then you can move to the T from STAR and describing the tasks you have. And if someone is not familiar with what PhD means, you can describe what are the tasks that you really have to do the setup and arrange everything by yourself, and you were able to handle that. So the actions that you do, maybe you have managed a technician, or you have supervised students, maybe you have been revising things. So what were the things that contributed for your project to work? And of course, you want to say something about the results because it's something you're proud of. So that's the first R, that you say maybe about the output of in papers, or maybe that you got a grant or a travel grant. So these are all things that you can highlight to show that it has been successful in the project management you have been doing. And then the second R, it's not official one, but I really like to add that. That stands for reflection. I think it's always good when you're in a conversation with a recruiter to tell them how proud you are, or how happy it made you, or that this experience made you realize you want to do more of this. You know, how nice is that to show you motivation by this? So by doing these steps, you can keep yourself talking for a couple of minutes, and something you can prepare at home, a very structured way to make it more convincing. So do look it up.
Okay, thank you very much, Kia, for you can find additional advice from the Kia about skills and competencies and interviews you recorded with Benedict, one of our PhD team members a few years ago. It is available on PhDOOC YouTube channel, and we'll put the link in the chat for easy access as well, the link to chat website. I hope, do we have any question?
It looks like no participants have asked any yet, but we do have way more for Kia, because we're going to take advantage that she's here with us tonight to really grill her. So here we go. Last week, our webinar, as I mentioned before, was about networking and how it could really help PhDs navigate the hidden job market specifically. And I was wondering, well, would you recommend strategic networking when applying to vacancies in the like on the public market, the public non-academic market?
Certainly, yes. And I think that in my experience, the public so public means what to you? Sorry.
Yeah, it might not be the right translation. I meant the non-hidden one, basically the open market, like the open job market with published vacancies and job announcements.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Okay, so I think if you do networking to explore career options to see what is there for you, it's better to do that without having a particular vacancy in mind, because it may feel for the other side as using a backdoor. If something is advertised, you expect to apply, and the other side is in charge. They look at your skills, at your motivation letter, and if they think you are a good person to discuss with, they will invite you. So I think it's a bit sensitive to try to get to speak with someone and to network there. But I think if you're at the stage of you're not entirely sure whether a particular position or job is for you, you can approach someone who's doing something similar, like, okay, I have read this and this, and I think it's attractive, but I can only see one part of the job. I don't know what is the company culture like. I don't know how it fits me. And you ask a person on LinkedIn on personal title, like, would you be happy to share experience with me so that I can learn a little bit more of what it is like, and maybe I can ask my questions. And now I come back to that you have to do some introspection first, because you can ask them anything, but maybe for you, work-life balance in a certain definition is very important, or you want many PhD graduates, they want some autonomy. They do not want to be told what to do exactly how and at what time. So if that's important to you, you ask someone to have coffee with you. And of course, you can ask general questions first, like what do you do, so you can learn a little bit more about what the job involves. But then ask, so to what extent is there autonomy? Can you describe the autonomy that you have? And then you can see for yourself whether that is something that suits you or not. So how about work-life balance? Let them explain, because that question is immediately relevant to you. And that gives you the answers. And maybe if the answer is not completely right yet, still then you can figure out like, okay, but if I have this and this and this in mind, would you know something that I could further explore? And then you get a very targeted advice or suggestion from that person. And of course, you're not asking for a job, because if you ask for such a coffee meeting, we call it an informational interview, you ask for information. You should not be turning into a job. That's a line you should not cross, because otherwise you should have gone through recruitment or through the application procedure. But implicitly, you would not do this if you were not open to the market, and you would not make the answer prettier than it is, because you're just exploring. And if an opportunity comes up later, people will remember you. Or if you apply and people have heard your story already, then they can be sure that this is more a genuine story rather than that you're writing it for the sake of getting the job, you know? So it's always useful to have these networking conversations with people, so people get to know you, they know what you stand for. And sometimes opportunities arise and they're forwarded to you because they know, hey, you're an interesting person who may be suitable for this. And there are people who do this process unconsciously. And maybe you know them, those people that you meet, and they say like, oh, you know, and I've been invited to apply, and, you know, and this vacancy was forwarded to me. And then you wonder like, why doesn't this happen to me? But this is a way to increase the chance that these things happen to you, so that to get the market to also know you. And there's no guarantee, of course, but if this works out, and I've seen it working out many, many times, I think you get far more fulfilling careers, because it's filtered by what you're looking for. So that's how these opportunities and you come together.
Thank you, Kia.
Okay. Thank you. I have a question. Has PhD students had specific skills should we focus on developing during the academic journey to facilitate a smooth transition into non-academic career?
I'm not sure whether I get the entire question. So if
it was, are there the specific skills that PhD student can focus on to facilitate this transition into non-academic career?
There are very nice models made, and I would recommend you to have a look at the Vitae employability lens. It has been developed in the UK to see the overview of lots of transferable skills and that you have acquired, must have acquired to survive academia thus far, or personal qualities that you have proven. But I think the power of being a PhD graduate is that a PhD comes as a package deal, because many of the transferable skills, they are not unique to PhD graduates. But as you are a PhD graduate, or well, if you have graduated there, then you must have had this broad set of skills. And it's very interesting because people who are, or employers who are used to hiring PhDs, they know they are hiring for potential rather than for one specific skill. But if you want me to name some, you know, analytical skills, it's something that all PhDs must have. Self-motivation, you know, enthusiasm, you have discipline, you have all project management. So without even consciously working on them, I think the whole PhD trajectory is one big training that if you make it to the end successfully, then you have evidence that you have this broad set of PhD skills and qualities. So I hope that helps for the participants. as an answer? Or for you?
Yes, yes. Maya, you have the floor.
All right. There is one last question that we'd like to ask you, Kia, before we start wrapping up. And this is kind of a question about your insight for international PhD students. Um, Many of our viewers, especially maybe tonight, because we're having an English language webinar, have international profiles. And so we were wondering if you had any specific advice for PhD candidates looking to and applying for jobs outside their home country, um, if that you could share with us.
So I don't know whether they are targeting particular the language barrier in this, because I know you're in France and not everyone speaks French maybe at that moment. So I'm based in the Netherlands, and few people who come into the Netherlands speak Dutch actually. So, and you can do your entire PhD in English actually. So I can use that as a parallel to the situation you're describing. I think if you want to explore options for careers that do not require the native language that's spoken at that country, it's again the informational interview that you can ask, like, so to what extent is it necessary to speak Dutch or French? I think the answer you always get is it's always appreciated if you do make an effort to learn the language. But if you're not at that professional level yet, still, I think there are lots of careers available to that. So if you move to project management, or if you become scientist at a company, usually that's not such a big problem for that, because you work with other international people there as well. If you're going to, or if you have the ambition to work in policy making, so I'm a policy advisor now, you will notice that lots of the documents that are shared, the papers they are making, they are, for me, in my case, they are in Dutch. And I also spent a bit of time in Germany, and I was also asked to take minutes, and I told them, I'm fine, I understand enough German to make the minutes, but you will get the minutes in English from me. So that can be a challenge, but I think that's again something for you to figure out by doing these coffee meetings, informational interviews, to get more ideas, because I just named 2 examples, but there are way more, and for your specific direction, do ask people, and you will get lots of insights in that.
Oh, thank you. That's such good advice. I know these are tricky situations, and it's always good to have someone who's already been there kind of share how to navigate them. Um, it's really great to have your point of view, and I want to thank you for answering all of our questions. I'm going to tell the participants a little bit now about what to expect next week as Unit 5 opens. Because this kind of wraps up Unit 4, which deals with digital professional identity and pitching and opportunities for networking with professionals. That's everything the MOOC has been dealing with up till now. And in Unit 5, which opens today, participants will be preparing themselves for the recruitment process. So that's what we were trying to help them imagine tonight. So in the videos that are on the MOOC in Unit 5, dear participants, you will hear about recruiters' expectations. You'll receive a detailed explanation of job interviews and some advice about how to prepare for the interview, especially in industry. So you might hear some of the things that Kia has been talking about, but there will also be other perspectives, and the more the better. So don't forget you can watch the replay of this webinar on our YouTube channel, and you'll also find lots of other English and French language resources there, amongst which Kia's previous recorded interview, where she talks about skills and competencies. I highly recommend it. And next week we'll have two recruitment specialists. This is a special occasion. They will be from the private sector, and they'll be joining our team for a live webinar next Tuesday. And they'll tell us more about jobs in R&D, specifically from a French multinational perspective. Odile, can I let you wrap up?
Okay, so well, I'll stop here for tonight. Thank you very much, Kia, for sharing your experience and knowledge in French with all of our questions. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Ayub. And thank you all for following and commenting on the live session. Have a good evening and see you soon.